Hello, my artful friends. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you're having a creative day. Today is Monday, the 16th of August, and I'm coming on to do a little bit of watercolor and doodle, practicing pansies for our friend Teresa. She loves pansies, and so I am going to paint some for her. And there might be a digital kit in the works. I'm just saying. So I got out two of my black velvet brushes. One is size 4 and one is size 6, and you'll see me use those simultaneously throughout the painting. But if you have any questions, as always, put them in the description box or the comments box below, or you can email me or contact me on social media. And I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. I've mixed up here some ultramarine blue and cerulean blue, and with that I've added a little bit of the blue indigo to deepen it a little bit, but a light deepness to be my initial laydown. I want it kind of muted. So I'm going to get a very watery bit of paint here, maybe take it off that, even lighter. More water than paint. Right now, we're just kind of loosely drawing in the flowers, or the petals. I'm going to start here. Just kind of bring that in. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. It's very, very light. I want a very light color at this point. I'm just blocking in where I want everything to be. And you can kind of think of the shape as a butterfly wing, perhaps, or maybe a bow tie. This initial blocking in or wash. Okay. And just checking the time there. I don't want this video to go too long. And I'm using 140-pound cotton paper. This is from the Beat Paper Company. And I got a little bit of a fuzz there, probably from my towel. It happens to me quite a bit. I get little fuzzies from it. Oh, okay, when it's dry. Okay. Then let's see. I'm going to go in. I'm blocking every petal in, and if you find that you can't block in without going into the next petal, then you can wait and then block it in. This is going to be a very upright and studious flower. I did go in a little darker on the back petals because they typically darker back there. They're behind the other one. And that one will be even darker because it's very much behind the rest of the flower. Oops, sticking to the tray. It is hot here today. Hold on. Had my arm in the paint. Don't do that at home, okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, now you could do this when it's still wet, or you can come back like me and wet the petal and drop in the paint. Okay. So because I'm choosing to go this route on this one, I want to show you both ways. So I'm just going to wet this first petal now, and then I'm going to pick up my blue mixture, my main blue mixture, and I'm just going to drop this a little bit in there, brighten it up. I'm just going to kind of, for the most part, I'm going to let it do what it wants to do. I don't want to disturb it too much, but I am going to have it kind of spotty there. And again, I'm going to get some water, and I'm going to wet this petal. And a little bit of paint on my brush, and just come in and let it just kind of, you know, the paint's going to move where it's wet. So depending on how much you want it to spread is how much you want your paint to be wet. So if your brush is really wet with the paint, it's gonna really whoosh out. And then I'm just, again, picking up little bits of it to kind of make it splotchy in the middle. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, the one here in front. Then I'll show you guys how I'm going to do it all simultaneously. Again, I don't want to be too whooshy. That's even a word. I don't want it to whoosh out too much. So I just kind of dab up some of the paint. And then now I'm going to take and going to let's see, let's just put down the paint. And then this one, I'm going to kind of help it where I want it to go. I'm not going to let it kind of whoosh on its own. I'm going to put down the paint. So instead of wetting it first, I'm telling the paint where to go, and then I'm going to blend it out. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. And blend it out. And meet somewhere in the middle. Okay. And then I'm going to come in the middle here. And it's okay if they go into each other a little bit. You just don't want it a lot because you want a delineation of petals. Okay. Now I'm going to go in. I have a mixture of gold ochre and I would say a very cold yellow. Permanent. I have in my palette permanent yellow deep, but you might have lemon yellow, or it may just say yellow deep, or Yeah, just any very lemony yellow. And I mix that with my gold ochre. And then I'm going to kind of come in and give it its little center, little nose. Rinsing my brush. Now I'm going to just bring plain water because I want to pick up some of the paint in here and create light blues. It's when you drop wet paint or water into your area of painting, and because it's semi-dry, it's going to create this widening effect of the paint, and it's going to give you blooms. And I just kind of do it halfway. This one I did a little more, but yeah, I would say the middle section of the petal. Oops, too much water. If you get too much water in your brush, dab it off on the towel. Okay, there we go. All right, and then now I'm gonna let this oh no, let me block in. Let's block in a little bit more of the blue. This wasn't a tutorial. This wasn't supposed to be a tutorial. But I want to tell you guys what I'm doing. No, now I'm gonna really deepen up the back ones a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, this wasn't supposed to be a tutorial. This is a practice session. But here I am. I guess I guess it's you know, once you're used to doing something, you just don't I guess it never leaves you. So here I am again, blocking in, bringing in a little bit more brighter blue into the back petal. Because in the back, that's the star of the show, is that one petal there, at least in my eyes. This guy just hangs out and becomes part of the background. You're just sitting out there lounging. And I like it to be darker where the petals meet, and have like a lighter center. So I'll just keep dropping in paint. I'm not brushing with my brush. I'm just dabbing. Helps you bring out the paint to where you want it to be, but you're not stressing the paper. The more you rub on your paper, and especially if you're using wood pulp paper, you're going to overwork it. And so I would just rather drop and dab, or blend out, as we call it. Okay. I'm going to leave that to go now. And yeah, let me dry this and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. So now I'm going to get my brush back into my blue mixture here. Again, ultramarine mixed with cerulean. Get a nice bright happy blue. Okay, I'm going to pick up just a little bit on my brush. Just a little bit. You don't want your brush soaking wet. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here actually and drop in a little bit of the dark blue that I have going on my brush, like in a triangle formation. And then I'm going to take my other brush that just has a little bit of water on it, and I'm going to bring it towards me, carrying the paint. Ever so lightly. I'm barely kissing the paper. I'm just using the tip of my brush to bring the paint towards me. Okay. Yeah, you guys can see that. I'm going to do the same for the other two. So I'm going to turn my project here, or my board. Pick up just a little bit of paint, and I'm going to put it down. And if your paint is too viscous, then water it down a little more. If it's too watery, then either you can wait for some of it to dry, some of the moisture to dry up, or you can put in more paint. Yeah. I want the middle to be a little bit more. There we go. These are happy little flowers. Okay. That one was a little much. Let's see if we can take care of that. Yeah, there we go. Damp brush, not wet, damp, will pick up the paint. In most cases, unless it's a staining color, then you might have some difficulty, but usually just work it out with a damp brush. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in on some of the edges, because we've created that, I've created that, see that line here where it bloomed out in the petal? It's very faint. Let me see it. Let me put on autofocus. I don't think I have that on. You guys can, okay, so it's on. So see how there's a very faint line right here, and then right here, and then again right down here. There, I put that bloom there. So let me turn that off now. Okay, and that's where I'm going to bring in some darkness on the edge of the petals, right? So what I do is I'll take this blue mixture that I created and get out the yucco from my palette. Don't know what that was. I'll take a little bit of this blue mixture, and I'm going to put it over here in another well of my palette. And it's like my dog has been playing in my paints. And if you've been following me long enough, you know that Loki likes to get into my paints. Not really, but his hair does. Oh my goodness. Take a little bit of that. And then I'll take a little bit of, I have Rose of Ultramarine, which is a nice, but I would say darkish purple, but it, yeah, it's here, let me show you guys. It's got a deep, it's this one right here. Okay, so it's got a pinkiness to it. So when I add it to the blue mixture, I get this dark lavender or dioxazine purple color. And make sure my other brush is wet. or you can rinse your brush if you only paint with one, whichever. And I'm going to make sure I have this. And I'm going to, I'm going to do the same thing I did there, but instead of pulling towards me, I'm going to put a little paint there. Make sure it's wet at the edges. And then I'm going to take a wet brush or a clean brush, kind of just bring that color out. Just bringing it out. You're just giving a little bit of depth to your blue color. Okay. And I don't know, yeah, you guys are seeing it. Do the same thing on the other side. And you can do the sides, you can do the whole thing. But I kind of blend it out just to where that edge is, where I made the mark, the bloom, where I made the bloom happen. And it's going to naturally help the flower take on a little bit of ripply and or splotchy. And splotchy is really not the best word, but see how it, oh, again, autofocus, Shauna, autofocus. Jeez. There, it just gives a little bit of something to the petal. All right. So I'm going to go around and do that. Now here, where I did it more here, I'm just going to put little bits. Yeah. Bring a wet brush and just blend it out. There. See? Starting to look more rounded and cohesive already. Now, on the bottom one, I think, let's see, what do I want to do? Do I want to bring it in more? Let's, let me get more water in that mixture there. And I'm gonna bring it in more, I think. Just making my way around. You can move the paint as long as it's still wet. And it just starts to take on a little bit of life, more than it did. But I figure while I'm practicing these, you guys might want to come and hang out with me. Again, not meant to be a tutorial, just meant for me as sharing. Yeah, I'm liking that. Very light with the brush, just kind of blending out the paint so it mixes well. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in even more of that blue mixture into this purpley mixture. And it's going to be a little bit more paint than water. Nice dark consistency going. And you really need very little paint for these flowers. They really are just easy to paint and just, you know, relaxing. Okay, so I like that color, I think. A little more of that. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. And now I'm going to really deepen up the back petals. I tend to paint in stages because I like to blend out and let pigment dance around and be all flowy and stuff. So I tend to paint in stages. You know, it just depends. You know, the stages, they depend on the actual thing I'm painting. But I tend to paint in stages. Let things dry, come back around, see if I want to add anything to it. And you create, I think you create better shadows that way, but that's just my humble opinion. Let's see. I really need this to darken up here. And darken up here. And especially when you're painting something where all the petals are really close together, you're going to want to paint in stages. Okay, I like that so far. Now I'm going to go into my green, and my green, well, the leaves on these things, in many places they're bright and happy, so very much, you know, a sap green would do you in almost any set that you have, but it's got a little bit of olive green in my palette and a little bit of pink from my neighboring palette that's leaked through, and then, you know, I'll bring in a little bit of the deep sap or hunter green for my shadows. Yeah, that's just how I with these when I'm doing, you know, bright leaves and stuff. So I'm just going to get my brush, my smallest one. I have should get out my other ones, but this is fine for this. And I'm just going to start here. Okay. The stem blocked in. And then let's put a stem there. And let's, now the leaves are kind of, they're ripply, flowy. So I'm going to come up and just kind of lock that in. I'm going to put the little pod things, kind of like a triangle. If you put too much paint in there, which I got too much on my brush, I'm just going to kind of lighten this up. You kind of have like a three-pronged bud. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to blend that in. Okay, and I think I'm going to take Um, and I'm going to do another bud, like it's coming out from behind this flower, or this leaf, and I'm going to really hang it down. These flowers have, I would say, taller, what do you call it, stems and things, so you can go a little bit, be a little creative with them. Again, this is not a tutorial. It's just not a tutorial. I hope you guys are doing well. I was, if you've been following, you know, I was sick all last week. I'm still not quite better yet. I had my second COVID, but yeah. So yeah. Okay. Now I've wetted the leaf, and now I'm just dropping in, you know, dropping in color into the wetness and letting it spread where it wants to. But definitely connecting the blocked in outline, if you will, to the rest of the leaf. Okay. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Let's go back to our blue, if you're following along. Again, this is not a tutorial. Okay, yeah, let's go back to our blue, our brighter blue, our lightest blue over here. You guys can see where I'm mixing there. A little bit of paint. I like to get the paint moving on the palette, and then I like to let it, a lot of times I'll let it, by doing it in stages, you allow your paint to mix on the paper. And so the buds are really they're kind of like squarish triangles, you know, like that. And so I'm going to come in, lighten that up, put a little bit on this side, and lighten that up. We're just blocking in color. And you can get out a highlight if you want, picking up some of the paint. Okay. And let's do this one where it, yeah, let's do this one where it comes out like this. And it has just a little, okay. There we go. Okay. I like that. Okay. Let's go back now, and because I think I like the flower the way it is. Well, let's let the flowers sit there and rest a minute. I'm going to go back to the greens. Now I'm going to go into the hunter green, or the deep sap green. It's darker, and I'll lightly draw in, and I like to do lost and found edges, to where I let my brush skip when I'm doing the middle of something, like a vein or And then I just come through and I rub it out a little bit so it's there. So you guys can see the deep color there in the middle that comes through, but it's not a line. That makes sense. And then maybe do a little bit of this darker color. Oops. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. I guess I'll widen the stem, the main stem, a little bit. Now bring some up here. So this is just a lot of just little lines and smooshes and yeah. All right. Let's see if I can fix my wide. Oh, water there. That's okay. This is just a practice piece, right? It's just paper. And I'm just going through and there. And you definitely don't want these too dark, but I want to bring in a little bit of darkness just in some places. If you do your lost and found edges, it looks more natural, I think. I mean, that's just the way I view it, but that's just me. So if you don't like to bring your shadows, you do your shadows your way. I like to bring them into the stem. I like to do lost and found edges. It's just how I roll. So what is everybody up to today? I am going to be doing this, and then I'm going to be working more on a journal that I'm working on. So I have a full day ahead. I'd be interested to know what you guys are up to. Yeah. If it's anything exciting, I may have to come and join you. Okay, so, and you could have brought this one more straight up. I don't know. These flowers, they're happy little flowers, but they open up like this. You know, they kind of, and that's kind of why I paint them, you know, slightly up and slightly, you know, plus they have the long stem, so that tends to make them heavy. They got a very heavy head. And the stems don't, I don't think the stems adequately support them. That's just my opinion. I'm not I paint flowers, but I don't grow them. I kill them. So yeah, this is how I see it. Now we're going to bring in a little bit more to the little buds. So I'm just going to come in this one corner and get a wet brush and blend it out. There. See, I still retain that little bit of highlight in the petal, and that's what you want. Let's just bring this one like this. Okay. Bring that up so you can see it. There we go. You got the darkness and the highlight there. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So let's see. I wasn't able to stream this past weekend. I missed you guys. Again, me and the vaccine just did not get along. But I needed to get it, so you gotta do what you gotta do, you know. Yeah, you just gotta do what you gotta do. So I survived, as I figured I would, but oh, I was so sick. And I had my grandbabies, so yeah. Fun times. I blended that one out a little bit too much, so I'm just going to bring in a little bit more. There. Let's see. Let's give this a little bit of color there. The light's going to mostly hit this area, so I don't want to give this one too much color. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is I'll just do a little bit here at the curve. Okay, that's good. I like that. Maybe a little bit too much. Rub it out a little bit. I want to retain a little bit of a highlight on each of the petals. Okay. I think that's that. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go away and dry this, and then I'll come back and I'll doodle for you guys. But let me show you before we do that. Let's say, you know, this one I blocked in the flower with the paint initially. You can also do it to where I'm just going to pick up plain water on my brush, and I'm going to block in. Again, I like to use a very light paint mixture so you can see it. So let me do that here. And this is going to be really, really light, so I hope you guys are going to be able to see it. But let's say, oh, that's a little dark. I want it mostly water. I want like no color. And because these flowers come in different ways, right? So what I've done is I'm not going to wait now for this to dry and come back, and I typically don't. I did this one that way because I wanted you guys to see, but I will come in with that brighter color and put it where I want it right away, instead of waiting and coming back. And some of these, the reason why I put these in different areas without making it totally all one, and the reason why I put them on the outside is some of these, they're more colored on the outside than on the inside of the petal. So I wanted you to see how you could do that. And again, you always want to bring your brush towards you when you want to pull the paint. Okay, so that's another way you could do the petal, is wet it. You know, I like to use a very light color of the colors I'm using, so it helps me see where I'm blocking in, and then I'll come in straight away with the darker wet paint, especially if in this case where I want to pull striations through the leaf. Then I'll do that. That's just how I do it. Again, you might feel it's totally wrong, but that's you know how I roll. Because again, these flowers come in so many different colors, and you know, pure color. This one's more pure color and some of them have more white. So you can really have a play on you know, the petals and stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away because I want to doodle on this. and then I'll show you guys that. So hold on, let me let this dry. Okay, so I brought out a mix of pens, and I also have my Muji .03 pencil. Thank you, Cece. That I'll most likely definitely use. I will be using a mix of black and gray pens. I prefer to shade with my pencil or gray pens, or gray, unless I'm using a color that's similar in tone. Like if I'm using colored pencils, if I'm just doing doodle with pen, I tend to gravitate more towards the gray than black. But I am going to bring a little bit of black in here, and it's very, very light. I'm going to be doing again some lost and found edges with that. I don't know all which pens I'm going to use, but I probably will use, and I have different sizes. Like these are dark gray, and I have a 0.1 and an 05, a pencil. This is a light gray and an 05. And then I have these three black ones, 01 and 03, and then my 0.28 and the DX. But I'm going to start with the microperm pens. They are my favorite black pen. And I'm using the smallest tip, the 01, and I'm just going to kind of do some sketchy outline. And I use the word outline loosely because I'm not really outlining the whole thing. I'm just kind of doing some sketchy marks. And I don't know if you guys are going to see where I'm going, but you probably won't see too much what I'm doing yet. Maybe a little bit. Let's see, let me bring you down a little bit further. Get you up close and personal. Okay, I think you guys can see there. So I'm just doing some sketchy outlining to begin with, kind of get the feeling for what how much darkness or detail I want to pull into these flowers. I don't want them to be dark. So I'm just kind of going around first. And again, doing some scratchy, lost and found edges with the pen. Like in here, I'll come in a little darker. Come up here, do the same thing. Being really scratchy with it. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of the black into the darker area of the flower, but again, I'm not doing much. I'm pulling, just same with my paintbrush, I'm pulling the pen too. That allows me to get some light scratchy lines for the middle to enhance it. I don't want to overtake it, I want to enhance it. So I tend to do scratchy or stippling. I don't know. Sorry if I was off screen there. Let me make sure I'm in screen on this one and let you guys see. Okay. And you can probably hear the scratchiness happening with my pen. I hope that's not like nails on a chalkboard. Okay, and then bring in a little bit here. I'm kind of scrumbling up there. That's what that's called, I think. I'm not proficient with the drawing terminologies, or all of them, I should say, but yeah. I do try, at least show you. Okay. Let's see. Again, some sort of scratchiness. A little bit in there, just to bring it in. Again, I don't want it to do too much to it in terms of the dark color. So now I'm going to switch to my gray. This is a 0.01. This pen was giving me problems earlier, but let's just see what it's going to do. I might have to switch to my pencil. I think this pen is, I think I've used it up. So let's try, let me try the 05. I think the nib is going to be too big for my taste. I tend to like very fine nibs. It's alright. I need to get more pens. And the gray. Because it brings in a shadow, brings in shading, but it doesn't take away. That's one reason why I like pencil. And thank you, Cece, for finding the fine nib pencil. Brings in shading, but doesn't detract or take away from. I think it doesn't take away. Oops, got off kilter there. It's okay. Make it part of the design. Yeah. And again, this is just my way. I don't know. I'm a watercolorist, but I'm not educationally trained. I have learned from others, and learned by doing. Okay. Now I'm going to switch over to my pencil. Wait, let me put a little more darkness in this corner here. Just a little bit. I'm barely even touching the surface of the paper. Just to darken up our shadows here. Okay. And then I'm going to take my pencil and just kind of deepen any shadows, bring in a little more depth without laying down heavy doodle color, right? So yeah, I love this pencil, and I love the shadows I get with it. Well, I told you guys I wanted to get better at colored pencils, so I'm going to continue working on that every chance I get. Yeah. So yeah, I'm liking the light, graphite shadow shading that it gives. Let's see. Let me bring up there. As you guys can see, just ever so slightly, but preserving the highlight of the bud. This is so relaxing. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And just like I do with watercolor, you will see me turn my board and yeah. Tighten up our. Again, you might hear some scratchy noise because I'll be working up the. Okay, and then the leaf here, I'm gonna again kind of do lost and found on the middle part again with the pencil, and then this one, the veins kind of come in like that. Oh, wait, did I do that wrong? No, I think that's right. Okay. Straighten up the middle there. Again, doing scratchy lines. Bringing it out a little bit. Okay. Let's see how that is. Yeah. A little bit up here. Okay, I like that. Okay, and I'm going to come in and kind of darken up just right where this, just at the around the center of the flower. To really give it some depth, but not lay down a lot of color. And you can do the same thing with paint. I like to doodle. I like to play with different pens and things. So I would say though that my center is very small. I did not give enough room for the center very much. So this one, he's a little puckery fella. He ate a lemon or something. He's all puckered up. That's what I would say. I would say that my middle is not. It doesn't need to be huge, but it could have used with a little bit bigger of a center. All right, let me take a look at this. Okay, yeah, I'm liking it. This is, it's been a while since I've done one of these flowers, but there you are. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little watercolor and doodle. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the comments box below. I love to hear from you guys and get comments from everybody on my videos. If you have suggestions, you can give me those too. Criticism, you can give me that too. Thumbs up, thumbs down would be also great if you could slide that in there. Yeah, and all right, so I'm done. I'm gonna go and figure out the rest of my day. I hope you guys have a very crafty Monday, and I will see you guys in the next video or live stream. Love you all. Bye. Take care.